Hi there, this video is about using the high pass filter and masking. So as you can see, I've got my cowboy image open. It looks pretty crystal clear, very nice resolution on this image. This image size is 72 at 34 by 43. If I make sure that resample is off and I punch in the number 300 here, this appears to be an 8 by 10 image. So what I've done is I've taken the large 42 by 38 inch image and I've squeezed it into a smaller space, therefore making the 72 dpi image into 300 dpi. So the pixels got smaller and a lot more could be jammed into 1 inch square. Awesome. Now, this image looks clear, but I think I'd like to try to experiment with the high pass filter. Now, the high pass filter can be used as a smart filter. So if you go to the filter drop-down menu, convert for smart filters. To enable re-editable smart filters, the selected layer will be converted into a smart object. So the layer is turned into a smart object. You can see that there is a smart object clip attached to the side at the bottom corner, a little clip attached to the side. And then I'm going to go to filter, bypass all of the other filters, go to other and high pass. Now the high pass filter looks like this image has been solarized. So it looks like the light was turned on in the dark room and turned back off again, and something was happening with the areas of contrast on the image. I'm going to, take this down to about 10 and say, okay, I have to use a blend mode on the high pass. So I will double click and attach or go down to vivid light, and you can see how the high pass is affecting the layer. Hard light is one step less. Soft light is another step less of an effect of that high pass. If I put it back to vivid light, I can also take the opacity down. And in some cases, the blend mode and the opacity are going to work very well. I'm going to say okay. But in some areas of the image, I may want to mask out the high pass altogether. So with a smart filter, you get a mask layer. If you click on the mask to make it active, and you grab a brush that is black, and I'm going to move my toolbar over a little bit and show you how to change the size of the brush. So you can see that it's 1100 pixels. That's a pretty big brush. I can either change it with my bracket key, so my brush is getting smaller or larger. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be painting with black on the mask for the smart filter. So immediately when you look at this, we've got a smart filter which is working like an adjustment layer. So it's not directly affecting this image. The mask is going to mask out the high pass. So if I paint, and I'm going to show you what painting with 100% is. So painting, you can see that the glow around the edges of the hat is disappearing, around the edges of the jacket, and the rest of this. If I want to take down some more of this high pass filter, maybe a little bit more in the background, take a little bit more out. If I'm noticing that maybe the high pass filter is adding to this kind of the dust marks that are on the hat, I can mask these ones out. And as I'm painting on the mask layer, you can see it change. If you want to take a look at what the mask looks like, you can press Option. So you Option click. So you can see my mask here. This is what it looks like when I'm painting. So I'm painting in the areas surrounding that image, right? If I press Option to click back, my mask is concealed from the preview, but it's actually acting upon the picture. If I paint, let's say here and here, you can see that the eyes kind of the high pass is being taken away. It looks like they've been blurred out a little bit. I'm going to press Option and show you what the mask looks like. Now with the painting on a mask, you can paint with a hard brush or a soft brush. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So with a soft brush, if I select the mask to make it active and I paint in the area, and I'm going to paint with white now. So I'm going to press Option and show you. I'm painting with white. I'm going to click back. I'm going to paint with black. Okay. So here is a soft edged brush. You can also paint with a lower opacity. So I'm going to, instead of using the toggle here, I'm going to use X. So I'm pressing X on my keyboard, so I don't need to go near the toolbar for this. Black conceals and white reveals in masking. So if I'm going to paint with white, that means that I'm going to go back. I'm going to press Option. I'm going to be taking the masking off the eye area. If I want to tone it down a little bit in certain areas and not 100%, I can paint with black at a lower percentage. So let's say some of the area in his forehead, it might be a little bit too intense, or underneath his eyes, the eyebrows, a little bit, take the high pass down slightly on the beard. And now I'll go in and press Option and show you the masking that I'm doing. So you can mask with black or white. Black conceals, white reveals. You can mask with a soft edged brush which has a bit of a blur on the edge. You can also mask with a lower opacity of the color that you're using. So if you're using black at 49% or 50%, you're only taking back or taking down half of the high pass filter, in this case, on this image. And if I want to, I can toggle the high pass on and off to see the effect on the image. So that is masking, and also smart filter. So the smart filter works as an intermediary between whatever you're doing, whatever you're adding, whatever kind of filter you're adding, and the image itself. So you can use the 3D blurs, the blur galleries, distortions, noise, pixelation, etc. on your image, but really you're not destructively editing your image. And then with masking, you're just masking out some of the effect of the filter itself. And if I press Shift, that turns the mask off altogether. So the mask is not in use, but the high pass filter is in use. So what I did when I was masking was to mask out very, very subtle areas that I don't want the high pass to be affecting. And if I press Shift again, so I click and press Shift on my mask, you can see it being turned on and off. So that's masking, the high pass filter, and smart objects. And that's the end of the video.